Number 10. The forest creature. One trend in the GoPro community is to attach a GoPro to your pet in order to see their point of view of the world. This is especially popular for dogs, as people will let them roam and then watch back the journey that they took. And that's what happened here, a GoPro attached to a dog freely roaming through the woods. But when the owner watched the footage back, they were shocked by what they saw. At one point in the video, you can see a large, dark, humanoid-like creature walking across the frame. It's very hunched over and seems to have long hanging arms, looking to be too big to be a human and a bit more animalistic in its posture. Many people who have seen this video believe that this is a Bigfoot sighting, though many note how the dog didn't seem to react at all to the strange creature in its path, so it must be fake. But hey, the dog and the Bigfoot might be friends. You don't know their story. Number 9. Train tunnel. Now this one is not anything ghostly or mysterious, but instead just a terrifying experience that took place between one man and his friends. As a lot of teenagers do, they were walking along train tracks when they came across a tunnel. Following the tracks, they continued inside and were met with an incredibly long and dark journey ahead of them. As they moved through the tracks though, they realized they were in terrible danger. A light was at the end of the tunnel, but it was the light on the end of a train that was barreling towards them. The train was huge and the tunnel was narrow, meaning if they were caught inside with it, they would probably die. They make a mad sprint for the opening of the tunnel, fighting against the clock to try and save their own lives. Everything being captured on their GoPro in footage that looks straight out of an action movie. They make it out of the tunnel and only a second later the train goes whizzing past. Number 8. Lost at Sea. This one is similar to the last, as it was almost the video documentation of someone's final moments alive. In this video, a man named Jake has become stranded at sea after scuba diving, drifting in the ocean for hours. He pulled out his GoPro camera in order to document his final moments, saying, "That's a wrap on old Jakey." He was forced to stay afloat for a total of 6 terrifying hours, even after the sun went down and drenched him in darkness. But he says that he wasn't scared in what he believed to be his final moments, and said in an interview that he was actually just thirsty. It must be pretty terrible to be dying of thirst when you're surrounded by water, but you can't drink it. Fortunately for him, a plane was able to spot him thanks to the inflatable emergency marker that he was wearing on his back, and he was rescued after spending his terrifying evening at sea. It was in fact not a wrap for old Jakey. Number 7. Haunted house. Urban exploration is a very popular genre on YouTube, and I've often found myself binging the videos of people walking through abandoned homes or even theme parks. While these YouTubers were wandering through an abandoned house and supposedly haunted house when they caught something on camera that they definitely didn't expect. They're walking through the house and the viewer can see that it's clearly been empty for a while, in a state of disrepair with garbage and graffiti all over the floors and walls. It's dark inside the home and they have a flashlight on their GoPro as they move through the layout. They reach a corner when you can see an extremely dark, shadowy figure seeming to move around the corner and hide. While you might brush it off as just someone's shadow at first, it becomes scarier as you think about it more. The footage is coming from the front of the group, the flashlight attached to the camera, and you can see that there is clearly nothing in front of the light that would have allowed this shadow to be created. So did they manage to see a ghost or a demon in this house? Number 6. The tunnel. This YouTuber decided to take a long walk down a dark tunnel because, well, who wouldn't? The tunnel was a large sewer drain that rumors said would apparently lead you to hell. So of course this man decided to take on the dark abandoned tunnel by himself, GoPro in hand, ready to capture whatever he might find. When he's walking though, he starts to hear strange noises, described as the sound of metal being dragged along the floor or the wall. This doesn't stop him though, and he continues moving forward, the footage looking straight out of a found footage horror movie. Some viewers of the video commented on the fact that the tunnel hadn't been spray painted or torn apart like many other abandoned places, throwing out the suggestion that this is because everyone was too scared to venture into the tunnel, even for a bit of easy vandalism. Not long into his journey, his battery starts to die, so he makes his way back to the exit, still hearing the sound of scraping metal. Number 5. Motorcycle shadow. For the halfway part of this list, we are taking a look at another weird and unexplainable shadow, but this one took place in broad daylight. This person was taking a ride around town on their motorcycle when they realized they needed gas, and fortunately there was a gas station close by, so he pulled up, parking his motorcycle and getting ready at the pump. He's fumbling with his card when viewers can see the shadow of a person quickly walking by, reflected on the pump. The man on the motorcycle sees it too and whips his head around to see who's there, as the shadow appeared to show the person right behind him. But as he looks around, we can see that there isn't anyone even near him, and no one walking by in the distance who may have ran past. It's clear from the placement of the shadow that the person should have been close behind him, but nobody's there. Some people believe that it may be the shadow of a ghost or perhaps some other interdimensional being. Number 4. Creature. People don't just use GoPros to take videos of their daily rides on motorcycles, it's also incredibly popular to strap them to your helmet and film your trail on your bicycle, and that's exactly what this person did. They were filming their ride down a trail in their home village, preparing footage for their future video content. They then turn down a pathway that has tall walls on either side, when suddenly a strange creature jumps down onto the ground beside the bicycle. The man filming is shocked and stops, turning around to see that the creature is already gone. He said that he thought it was a dog, but on reviewing the footage it seems more like a monkey, him saying he believes it to be a hybrid between the two. He says that he was so shocked because it didn't make any sounds, even when it hit the ground. Viewers say that it doesn't appear to be a monkey and moved much too fast, disappearing way quicker than any normal creature. Do you think it's a monkey, or do you think it might be something more mysterious? Number 3. Zipline. We're back with another terrifying situation that I know would personally be my worst nightmare, and I would never want to be caught in it. These two people were ziplining when they stared down their potential deaths. They became trapped on the zipline when they discovered there was a knot in the cord and they would not be able to move forward any further, the clip being too small to go over it. You would never catch me willingly going for a zipline ride, but a zipline that looks like it's been tied together with a failed Boy Scout knot? No thank you. Watching the video is terrifying as you're able to see just how high above the ground these people are, and imagining yourself stuck up there is enough to get almost anyone scared. After continuously trying and failing to move forward down the zipline, they eventually make the decision to detach themselves and jump off. Don't worry though, they were equipped with a parachute and were able to make it to the ground safely. Number 2. Abandoned house. We're back to urban exploration again, this time at an abandoned house in my home country of Canada. Just like most abandoned locations and the last one featured on this list, the home was torn apart and vandalized, covered in garbage, rubble, and inappropriate graffiti. The people exploring the home were already put on edge by the dark and dilapidated atmosphere, but the more time they spent in there, the worse it got. They noticed that one of the doors in the home appeared to be opening and closing on its own, opening really wide before slamming against the door frame. They said that what they were feeling is unable to be conveyed through what you just see in the video, saying they felt like some dark presence was there with them and feeling more scared than they had ever been. When they looked behind the door that was moving on its own, it was clear that there was no one else within the home manipulating it, at least not anyone living. Number 1. Asylum guest. When it comes to urban exploration, one of the most popular destinations is old abandoned asylums. They are usually popular for their long and typically dark histories and the potential to find creepy artifacts within the walls. It's also believed by a lot of people that ghosts are born out of having a tragic death or unfinished business, something that would happen a lot at these now shut down hospitals. These YouTubers were exploring an abandoned asylum when they realized that they weren't alone, except it likely wasn't a ghost that was hiding within the walls. Despite there being no other cars around the building or other signs of life, they see someone standing beside a set of stairs, appearing to be on their cell phone as they were illuminated by the light of the screen. They try to communicate with the person, but he doesn't respond to them. Instead of sticking around to find out more like a proper horror movie protagonist, these guys cleared the area, leaving behind the asylum and the person who seemed to be living in the middle of nowhere.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the intruder. Of course, these guys think they're hilarious, and of course, this man is extremely upset, as I would be. But the man goes back inside his house, but these guys decide to try and trick the gang. But what happens next is what none of them were expecting.
Oh my god. What are we gonna... Get out, get out.
Of course, these guys just watched their friend basically get kidnapped, so instead of calling anyone, they go to investigate. They peer into the man's windows and head around towards the backyard before the man jumps out, and the video ends when it appears that he strikes the men with a shovel. This is another one where I'm not sure if this is real or not, but I hope it isn't. In our number 6 spot today, we have this doorbell footage. This next footage comes from a doorbell camera and shows the terrifying moment a stranger begins trying to break into a woman's home. She starts off by backing up and throwing her body into the window until it breaks.
You can see the intruder backing up and throwing the full force of her body into the window. It breaks. Then she pulls out the screen and reaches in. The homeowner screams.
The stranger wasn't in any immediate danger, but it does appear as though she may have been a little bit confused about her whereabouts, which is kind of sad. The woman whose home it is rightfully pretty freaked out and actually was a registered gun owner, so things really could have taken a wrong turn in this footage. Eventually, a police officer shows up and speaks to the woman, who claims that her friend is in the house. Obviously, this isn't the case, but this is why I believe that she may have been confused as to where she was. In the end, I am glad that everyone left this situation safely, but I am sure that everyone was a bit shaken up. In our number 5 spot today, we have the bear attack. This is footage that I will not be able to show you guys in this video, and I'm honestly not even sure if you'd want to watch it if I could. This footage comes from the camera of Timothy Treadwell, who is known as Grizzly Man due to his love of bears. The footage comes from a late summer day in 2003 when Timothy and his girlfriend Amy went out to study bears as hibernation season was just around the corner. The pair didn't return when they were supposed to, so an investigation and search party was launched to find them. Eventually, what was left of the pair, along with their camera, were found by authorities. As it turns out, they had been attacked and almost entirely eaten by a bear on this day, and their camera was running and recording during the terrible attack. Luckily, there was only audio, because I can't imagine anyone having to sit through a full video of such a gruesome attack, but the audio is just as haunting as you would assume it is. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Bradford City Stadium fire. On Saturday, May 11th, 1985, there was an English League 3rd Division match between Bradford City and Lincoln City, which took place at the Bradford City Stadium. Just minutes before the halftime mark of the game, a small fire was spotted in the stands. A man had lit a cigarette in the stands, and when he went to step on it to put it out, it fell through the stands. This small cigarette started a small fire that ended up engulfing the entire stadium in basically no time at all. The stadium was not built to resist the flames. In fact, a lot of the material used were highly flammable, which definitely made matters worse. It was an absolutely devastating day, and there is a video of the entire thing, but I'm just going to show you a clip from just the beginning where you can see the small fire starting.
And we've actually got a fire in the stand on the far side of the ground, and that looks very nasty indeed. Now the police have gone over there to try and quell the fire, and they're frantically getting some of the supporters out. Now these are extraordinary scenes at Valley Parade. It's supposed to be a day of celebration. One hopes the stand doesn't burn down.
This was just the beginning of what turned into a huge and deadly fire. In our number 3 spot today, we have this clown sighting. This footage comes again from another home surveillance camera, and I feel like these things always catch the creepiest happenings. This time when the homeowner went to check their footage, they were greeted by an extremely creepy clown. I'm not sure if you remember a few years ago when it became a trend to dress up as a killer clown to scare the heck out of people, but I'm hoping that that's where this video comes from, because that is the only explanation I want for this footage.
It's a scene straight from a horror movie, but it's right here in Jacksonville. A Springfield resident's surveillance camera caught this creepy clown on his porch. He grabs a pumpkin and then tears it apart. The clown stares awkwardly at the camera before disappearing into the darkness.
I like that the reporter commented that the clown looked awkwardly at the camera before leaving, because I think that the appropriate word is that the clown looked terrifyingly at the camera before he left. I could not imagine checking my footage and seeing this clown on my front porch. I feel like I would never sleep again. In our number 2 spot today, we have the blockbuster ghost. For those of you who don't know, before the age of streaming, we had to go to a store in order to rent videos. They're just guys being dudes hanging out until they come across a woman dressed in white walking down the middle of the road.
What the? That's a person. That is a girl. What the? It's wow. Dude, who is that? It's 31 degrees outside.
They're obviously really confused by what she is doing just walking down the middle of the road, and she seems to be unbothered by the men driving up behind her. They stop the truck and one of them gets out to go and check on her.
What the is he doing? Get the out! Go! Get the out! Go! What? Go!
The guy continues freaking out, telling them that they need to get out of there, and the other guys don't believe him until they realize that seemingly out of nowhere, this lady is now right in front of their truck. The video ends with this clip. I'm not sure who or what this lady is or what happened to these men, but it just does not look good.
Coming in at number 10, we have bubbles. A frozen bubble is quite the sight, and it can look eerily beautiful when they're discovered in large bodies of water. These bubbles were spotted in Canada's Abraham Lake in Alberta. At first, hikers on the frozen lake were totally baffled. It turns out that the bubbles are methane gas that were trapped as the lake froze over in winter. The problem is, come spring, these gases will emerge and the bubbles will go from being beautiful to deadly. Coming in at number 9, we have this pair of binoculars. This pair of slightly weather-worn binoculars were found after 86 years buried under ice. It's crazy how well preserved they are. All of the weather damage came from moments of thawing and then refreezing, but they still look so good. The binoculars were lost and found in the Swiss Alps along with the remains of 3 Swiss brothers who had been frozen while they were caught in a storm out on a hike. They were lost along with their equipment in a glacier for the best part of a century. A mysterious sight recently solved. At number 8, we have blood. Say hi to blood falls in Antarctica, probably the best visual metaphor for global warming. The glaciers are actually crying blood. No joke, this glacier is called Taylor Glacier, and these pictures are totally fulfilling all of my environmental look what you made me do dreams in the saddest of ironic ways. The bloody glacier was discovered in 1911, but it has got more dramatic over the years as the ice melts. Not actual blood, the fluid coming from the glacier is iron-rich hypersaline water. Can you imagine being Griffith Taylor, the Australian geologist who found this site? It'd be terrifying, even though it does have a logical explanation. Coming into number 7, we have this fish swarm. In 2014, an entire shoal of fish were found frozen on the coast of Norwegian island Luvund. The photographer discovered the group of fish when they were out walking their dog. The ice was so thick that it could be walked on, making a weird icy fishy pathway. It was thought that the fish had been frozen for a week or more, but how they managed to freeze this way is a bit of a mystery. Some are saying that they could have been on the run from a predator when chilling winds combined with low temperatures to create a really quick freeze. Either way, it's weird. Another frozen lake with an almost impossible sight at number 6, we have this totally translucent ice revealing a whole lake standing still in time. Frozen lakes are a common sight in cold countries, sure, but completely clear ice allowing you to walk on water / glimpse lake life totally stopped in time is actually a real rare mystery. What I mean is that ice will usually be kind of frosty, obviously no pun intended, but this is so clear it's like glass. The lake is in the Tatras Mountains in Slovakia, and it really makes me want to go. Okay, so as we are at the halfway point on our list, I thought we could have a little bit of fun for our number 5. Why? Because this story is so hilarious. We have a wedding ring found frozen in a curry. What? Honey, where have you put your wedding ring? I have no idea, I swear it was on my finger. It's a real mystery. Oh, there it is. It's in a curry that's been stored in the freezer for a year. Sure. Annie Robbs filmed her husband's hilarious reaction to finding a ring in her frozen curry as she was defrosting it. Her husband Chris thought that he'd lost it a year ago playing football, so it all came as a big surprise. Lo and behold, in the curry it was. Some questions as to who keeps a curry in the freezer for a whole year, but that aside, this is an incredible discovery and mystery solved. I guess the next mystery is how it got in the curry in the first place. Okay, very scary at number 4, we have viruses and disease. People start mysteriously getting ill and wondering why. Oh, well, it's just an ancient virus that has laid dormant under the ice for thousands of years, and because of global warming and melting ice, it's been unleashed again. Oh, and we have no modern cures. Hurrah! This whole issue came about when a 12-year-old boy died in 2016 after being exposed to thawed anthrax. This totally baffled locals who had no idea where it came from. It turned out that melting permafrost exposed it once again in the Arctic Circle. Now, we know anthrax, but it's what we don't know that scientists are losing most sleep over. The main worry is that further permafrost will melt across the world, unleashing, I quote, a Pandora's box of disease. Again, hooray! Coming in at number 3, we have volcanoes. Volcanoes! Under ice. How did they get there? In 2017, scientists identified over 90 previously undiscovered volcanoes under a huge sheet of ice covering West Antarctica. This is now thought to be one of the world's largest volcanic regions. With this discovery, it's clear that there is so much that we don't know about Earth before humans inhabited it. Coming into number 2 of our top 10 mysterious things found frozen in time, we have hidden treasure. That's my kind of mystery. Hello there, precious jewels. Where did you come from? A Mont Blanc climber found over $250,000 worth of jewels as he hiked on Europe's highest mountain. As he walked, he saw a metal box poking out of the ice. The box had "Made in India" engraved on it, and in the box he found emeralds, rubies, and sapphires. What a mystery! So it turns out that the box probably came from one of 2 Air India plane crashes that hit the mountain range in 1950 and 1966. Now these crashes killed over 100 people combined, so actually these are kind of sad jewels. Finally, at number 1, just taking a super quick flight of fancy, we have aliens, maybe. We're not sure. It's a mystery. 2 friends were walking on a frozen lake in Utah when they saw something really weird in the ice, and get a load of this, guys. Some people are saying that the patch of bizarrely melting ice looks like alien pods. The walkers shot some footage of the area, saying the creepy circle was around 5 feet in radius and that they thought that the ice looked like alien eggs. I really don't like little holes, so this makes me pretty uneasy, and I don't like this mystery. This mystery needs to stay really far away from me. Thanks.
Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have exit signs. This Backrooms footage has a date and time stamp of June 14th, 2007 at 9:23 p.m. and the video shows someone strolling through the hallways with only the sound of their footsteps to be heard. They come to a wall and they have the option of either turning left or right, and they choose to go right. You can see on the wall as they walk down the hall there are signs with an arrow that suggests an exit is that way, but if you know the Backrooms, you know to never trust an exit sign. They continue to follow down this path until they meet another fork in the road, but it appears as if at the end of each hallway there's a door. Could this really be the exit? As they approach the door, a sort of buzzing sound grows louder and louder, but when they reach the door, the tape cuts out. In our number 9 spot today, we have the encounter. This video was posted on YouTube by Sobog, and it is short, but it really shows what the energy in the Backrooms is like. It shows a first-person view as they're in the back room with the ever-present hum of the lights, but something is off about this room. I mean, more than usual. And when they look up, they see that there's a panel in the ceiling that's off or crooked. As they turn around, they come to find out that this is only the beginning of their worries. Before long, it looks like the entire ceiling is coming down and the tape cuts out. This is presumably only one of the many horrifying things to occur in the Backrooms. Someone in the comments also noted how the camera doesn't pan down in the last second like it dropped. Instead, it goes up, almost like something yanked him up into that hole in the ceiling. In our number 8 spot today, we have audio missing MP4. This footage doesn't have any eerie, buzzy sound. In fact, it has no sound at all, but it's aimed at showing the transition from our real, tangible world into the world of the Backrooms. This person starts out in what looks like a grassy field, but at one point as they go to touch the grass, they sort of fall through and are now stuck in the fluorescent mono-yellow world. They start walking through the maze of rooms, but at some point there's a cut in the video and they aren't moving anymore. After a few seconds, it becomes apparent why. A tall creature walks into frame slowly. It likely already heard this person searching around, or maybe it even heard their fall into the Backrooms. Either way, just a couple seconds after this creature walks into frame, the camera shuts off. It's anyone's best guess as to what happened next. In our number 7 spot today, we have Backrooms After Hours. This is a video that might just show what would happen if you were to no-clip out of reality at night. This backroom footage is dark, which is quite a contrast to the mono-yellow tone we're used to seeing in the Backrooms. There is one light, however, and it's a sort of flashlight that whoever is recording is using to look around these dark rooms. The field of view is limited, which only adds an even eerier nature to this already creepy place. While watching this video, it definitely is a creepy experience. The good news is that there is no jump scare waiting to happen. Instead, in this video, the horror comes from just waiting and almost expecting one to come, but it doesn't. At least not in what we get to see. In our number 6 spot today, we have dancing. Considering the fact that the Backrooms are said to be approximately 600 million square miles, it is highly unlikely that you'll run into another person or creature, but when you do, you know it can't be good. This video starts off with the person recording creeping out from behind a wall. They see some kind of a thing in the Backrooms dancing. It's human-like, but definitely moves a bit strangely. They tuck behind the wall again before going out to capture the dancing creature once again, and that's where things take a bit of a turn. I can't do it justice by explaining it, you just have to see it for yourself. Listen, I know this is like the Rickroll of Backrooms footage, but I'd be lying if I said that this one didn't actually get me. I should have been expecting it, but I wasn't. That's what I get for diving into Backrooms content. In our number 5 spot today, we have the unprecedented events. This video starts off with a bit of background. It reads that the following footage was taken from a surveillance system on a blank date in the KV-31 Research Center Bay before an unprecedented event occurred. Any footage that came after was either never recorded or was lost as other systems were nowhere to be found. Afterwards, it shows a room, but the video is clearly distorted, and then we get a small but terrifying glimpse into this unprecedented event. audio and video gets really distorted before it cuts back to the blue screen with text. This time it reads, "As shown by this next piece of footage, parts of the research bay were later found spontaneously in completely disproportionate shapes and sizes at completely random locations. The reasoning for this entire occurrence is still unknown." After this, it cuts to a clip showing exactly that. Regular office items, but this time they're in the back rooms and they are strange. An office chair with weirdly long octopus legs, tables stacked on one another all the way to the ceiling. It's just very bizarre and very wrong. Let's just all hope that no such events ever take place, because that would be terrifying. In our number 4 spot today, we have the found footage. This backrooms footage is definitely some of the creepiest that I was able to find. It starts off as anyone would expect: the hum, the bland lighting, the seemingly infinite rooms, but this one goes on to become a little different. As this person walks through the hallways, not only can we hear a creepy sort of distorted breathing sound, but they come to find out that they might not be as alone as you'd like to be when it comes to the backrooms. They eventually come across a room that is full of strange looking mannequins. Some are missing limbs, some are on the ground, some are just in strange poses, one even has a hand sticking out of its neck where the head should be. As the person continues to walk into the next room, here they are greeted with a gigantic worn down mannequin head. They stand there taping it in the room for a while, but right before the video cuts out, we hear whoever is taking the video gasp. Who knows what ended up happening to them? In our number 3 spot today, we have Where Am I? This video is done in the style of a phone screen recording as someone opens their camera to show where they are. Firstly, when they start screen recording, it then goes to their lock screen, which has quite a creepy and strange photo for it. Not really sure what's going on with that, but quickly they open the camera. Once the camera is open, they start showing us their surroundings, and it quickly becomes clear exactly where they are, and it's where no one wants to be. This video does a great job at showing sort of what it would be like should you find yourself in the back rooms with no prior knowledge of what they were. At first it may seem like a harmless place, but reality will soon set in. In our number 2 spot today, we have the pipe dreams. This found footage style video shows someone as they explore the back rooms. They're looking at pipes, there's a fire extinguisher, everything to convince you that you are in a much better place than you are, but before long, a very strange voice can be heard. When the camera turns around, we see some kind of an entity at the end of a long hallway, and it appears as if it's getting closer. Of course, the person behind the camera begins a slight panic. The camera turns away, but when it focuses back on the hallway, the entity is gone. The person filming begins to walk down the hallway because there really isn't anywhere else to go, and at this point, I was on the edge of my seat. They continue walking through this hallway that seems like it's never ending, and before long, the same creepy sound comes back. They start to run through this never-ending hallway, and when they turn around, the entity is back and only gaining on them. When they get to the end of the hallway, there's a door, but of course, this is the back rooms. That door is not gonna open, and now there is nowhere to turn. They turn around again, and the video ends with the entity continuing toward them. In our number 1 spot today, we have found footage number 2. Alright, there's no way that this would be a backrooms video without some content from Kane Pixels themselves, the person who is credited with bringing this creepypasta situation really back to life with their terrifying footage. This video of theirs I want to talk about today is called Found Footage Number 2. The video starts out with someone in their garage and there's a square taped to the floor. They show us that anything they place in this square disappears. They are shocked and they show us a few examples, but before long they find themselves falling into the square. They have now found themselves in the back rooms, but they obviously have no idea where they are. They begin exploring through the maze of rooms and they come across a series of weird things like disproportionate furniture and the like. Eventually they come across a car that looks as though it has crashed into a wall, and after this they see a handprint on the wall that looked like it could have been made in blood. They continue through the rooms and they only go on to get weirder until, of course, they come across a creature. From here the chase is on, but if you know the back rooms, that is a losing battle.